Hello there, folks, and welcome to another edition of
This is just in.
First up in the news, the video conferencing software Zoom is making waves lately, and not for a good reason. Due to the recent lockdown across the country, schools everywhere have been using Zoom to hold online classes. But it appears there's an exploit in the software that has allowed anyone to enter these video conferences and disrupt the online classes. This has led to some absolutely hilarious disruptive moments for users of Zoom. In one instance of this occurring recently, a man named Dennis Johnson was giving a doctoral dissertation when suddenly someone began drawing a male genitalia over his presentation and writing a, quote, racial slur on the screen. Other disruptions have been caught on video and have proved to be quite disruptive, but also hilarious.
I know this may be awkward for you, but I'm in love with your daughter, and I think that you just need to accept it. And I know that this probably isn't the best time to come talk to you about it, but I feel like I can only catch you when you're in class.
Which daughter? The youngest one or the older one? They're both beautiful.
The oldest.
Have you seen them on Facebook or something?
No. I'm actively talking to one of them. We're in a relationship.
This has been the whole semester, where it's like every time I raise my hand, you don't call on me too. You're always calling on Ming and shit. Like, Ming's not all fucking that, you know what I mean? Like, sure, he has nice glasses and shit, but he's not everything. Yeah, that's what I thought, Ming. Turn your camera off. Ming, if you fucking turn your camera back on, I'll scrap you next class. Don't think this coronavirus shit's not gonna end. It is gonna end one day, and I'm gonna see you in person, so don't be grilling me.
Music. All right, anybody who has music, turn it off. I will mark you as absent. Okay. Music off. Okay. Why are you, Mr. Morales, why are you putting all that money there? All right, turn that off, whatever it is. Off. Bro, you out.
Just kick him out.
I'm trying to.
Really.
Is that you, Mr. Morales?
Yeah, it is.
And in other news, an interesting family feud has just appeared in the public arena. It looks like Tim Pool's being called out by his brother for all the world to see. But why? Well, on March 31st, Chris Pool made this tweet. In the tweet, Chris claimed that Tim Pool and Emily Mully stole his business called Subverse. Subverse was a website founded by Chris Pool that covered a variety of news topics. Chris stated that after allowing his brother to join Subverse, Tim Pool and Emily Mully locked him out of all social media accounts attached to his business and later claimed to be the founders of Subverse so that they could register Subverse in another state without his knowledge. Tim Pool has not publicly responded to any of this on his own platforms. However, he has been using clout-hungry YouTubers to act as his mouthpiece by feeding them information to counter his brother's claims. And the first person to jump out in front of the story to defend Tim Pool, the shameless attention whore and clout vampire, the Quartering. That's right, the Quartering, the hack YouTuber who never fails to see a popular issue and ask himself, how can I make this about me?
I have spoken to Tim Pool at length. He is an acquaintance of mine. I have talked to Bill of Minds.com. We are acquaintances. It's not my intention to completely bury Chris, to push him over the edge. But this thing keeps gaining steam, and if I don't address it, I'm going to lose the respect of my viewers. I have verified via archived communications. This is all one of the most bizarre narratives I have ever encountered. I am connected with Bill and Tim, and I was able to address this. I saw him retweet it last night, and I tried to DM him and say, there's more to this story. I was going to let it just go away. That's what I made the decision at the time to just let this go away because I didn't want to cause any problem for Tim. And again, even when he started this, I reached out to Tim and I asked him, dude, what's up with this? He explained everything to me. Now I cannot ignore it anymore. He has never told me he has founded the company. And I've asked Bill if I can share our conversation. He has agreed. And I have seen that conversation as well. I was able to, I saw him and I tried. I want the best for your family and you.
The Quartering wasted no time stepping right into the middle of this bout between brothers to defend Tim Pool and release private conversations between Tim and Chris. The conversation was leaked to him by Tim Pool, of course, and it appeared to show that Chris Pool had given up on Subverse and handed over everything connected to the business to Tim Pool. However, Chris was quick to point out that the now leaked conversation only occurred after Tim had already stolen the Subverse social media accounts, revoked Chris's access to them, and registered Subverse in another state without including Chris. Chris claimed that it was only after Tim Pool hijacked Subverse social media accounts and registered the company in a different state that this now leaked conversation occurred where he was refusing to pay for a website domain for the business he had just been locked out of. And in this conversation, Tim Pool was offering him a job as a writer in the business he just lost control of. And I can't blame Chris from wanting to walk away from that. The whole situation led to an understandably large amount of friction between the brothers. Now this whole thing's messy. Chris Poole feels like he was swindled into bringing Tim Poole into the business, only to be pushed out by his famous brother who locked Chris out of the social media accounts for Subverse and registered the company in another state without including Chris. And Tim Poole has made statements that Chris did little to no work on the business after starting it and was just playing video games. So here's what I think about this whole mess. I'm no legal expert, and I don't know what Chris Poole can do about this, if anything. After all, it appears to me that in the leaked conversations with his brother, Chris gave up on Subverse after being pushed out of the company and walked away from it all. But only after his control of the business was subverted and Subverse was registered in another state without his knowledge. I think Tim Poole tried to demoralize his brother into giving up on Subverse after pushing him out of his position of control. But does Chris have a legal case against his brother Tim Poole? I don't know. But what I do know, it is without a doubt absolutely disgraceful to see how Tim Poole would treat his own flesh and blood in order to take control of his brother's creation and gain a hefty payout. And in other news, recently my buddy Cory has been uploading conversations with his father that have proved to be far more interesting than the title may convey. In his new series, Conversations with My Dad, Cory has started to share some interesting stories and life lessons from both he and his father's past. I'll include a link to episode 1 in a pinned comment down below this video. Here's just a taste of what you can expect from Cory's new series.
Had I died at 30 years old, nobody would believe the shit. You know what I mean?
No.
If you put all the shit in a book, stuff I did by the time I was 30. But you know what I mean? If you died at 30, people would be like, what the fuck? That guy did all that shit by 30?
Well, that's the thing. You seemed like you were on fire to experience all of it. And you damn near did. I mean, just look at all the things you did. You drop out of college, tell me you don't need college, you can make it on your own. And I say, show me you did. You saved the money. You generated business. You created cash flow. You were innovative, creative. I mean, everything you touched seemed to turn to gold. You start acquiring large amounts of cash. By the time you're 27 years old, you got $300,000 in the bank, a black card.
Rent properties.
Rent properties, pimping around a Benz. You got Tupac's Hummer. You just got a lifestyle of the rich and famous. You're only 27, 28 years old.
Buying DMX's house.
You bought DMX's house, flipped that. I mean, how many people wouldn't even believe the shit? And specifically to DMX, you know, I don't claim to know much about him. You know, spent some time with him. I thought he was courteous and he was respectful. And I remember that time he was over at your place and the girls were there, and he had his pants down, you know, like his ass sagging and his underwear hanging out. And I told him, Earl, pull your pants up. I got grandbabies running around here. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you would think he would just, like, ignore that shit. But he was respectful. And, you know, it was like, hey, I'm at your house. I'll do what, you know, your rules are. And no blowback at all. Just, you know, just real respectful guy. And just not what you'd expect, you know, from public image. But, when I experienced Earl, I thought he was a really good guy. But when I experienced him, he wasn't spun off on whatever, you know, coke or
I wouldn't let him come over. Remember, he would disappear for a week at a time.
Yeah, he was out getting his high on, and
then he'd come back around when he was sobered up.
That's part of that fame bullshit that I was telling you about. You don't think you would do it, but you're in a different city every 2 days, sometimes every other day. You got some hottie that loves you or thinks she does and makes whatever she's got available. You might have 30 kids. And, you know, he's not like my cousin is an entertainer. He said he wanted what he really wanted, instead of being a Chippendale and traveling the world and entertaining, he really wanted to have a wife and kids. And I started laughing. I really laughed. I said, Brett, you got to be kidding. You have to be kidding. You're an entertainer. Your whole life, the lifestyle you chose.
Not conducive to family life.
Not consistent. No, it's not going to help explain to your wife why you're not going to see her for 7 months, or your kids why they don't have a dad that's there like all the other kiddies and daddies are.
Or why your wife now has herpes.
Yeah, or why your wife now has something she can't get rid of. You just got disenchanted with the reality that the rules could be changed in the middle of the game, and they sure as hell weren't working for you. And, the whole, Phoenix disaster.
Then after that, getting my house raided and my shit stolen.
Yeah, I mean, the authorities stealing $28,000 out of your closet and
over $100,000 in gold and silver, and all my $10,000,
well,
$15,000 worth.
Back, but
I got the gold and silver.
Still cost you around $50,000, I think.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying at the time they took over $100,000 in gold and silver. They took the Mercedes,
took your Benz, took the gold, silver,
all my
took
computer,
your guns,
yep, my
took
computers,
your computers, your cameras, your cash, the $28,000 cash, took everything.
Yep.
And that's when you found out how corrupt the system actually is.
Do you remember? We got the gold and silver back. I think you had gone to Donna's funeral, and you were coming back, and I just said, "Fuck it, I'm out of here." You were sleeping in the guest bedroom, and I said, I just loaded up the gold and silver. Yep. I was afraid these corrupt fucking cops.
Yeah, they knew where it was. They'd come get it.
Yeah, they could just shoot you in your house and take your shit.
If you have a plan, you have a skill set, and you have drive, determination, discipline, and knowledge, the outcome's fairly predictable. You'll do it. You'll have success. Sometimes you'll have more than you anticipated. Sometimes not as much. But, it's just physics. Applied energy and effort, you're going to get a result. These are wealthy people's homes. These are second homes. These aren't, these are $500,000 to $1 million second homes.
Back in the 80s.
And this is back in the 80s. So that gives you some idea of the wealth, the prosperity these people had, these $500,000, $1 million second homes. And we would go in and I would empty these cabinets out, and there was medication for blood pressure, diabetes,
anxiety,
and antidepressants, anxiety, Xanax. It's a litany. You go down the whole damn list of things, like, it just indicated to me that to get or have that degree of success or that degree of prosperity, that there was a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety involved in it, and it just changed my mind about it. Like, God damn, how hard is it? I used to think it looked easy to be wealthy. The word on the street is you're worth $400 million, and you're telling me you found out how the truly rich live? He said, yeah. He said, I was traveling with people who could buy me 100 times over.
Like the Sultan of Brunei type people?
Yeah, like royalty from Saudi Arabia and the Sultan of Brunei. And I felt like a mule pulling a wagon up a mountain. And then to realize I had done it, no one had put a gun to my head and made me miserable. I became miserable by achieving everything I thought would make me happy. Mm-hmm. Only to find out I wasn't. And that's just the genesis of life, If you don't have it, go get it. You think it's going to have a result psychologically, and it isn't the result you think you're going to have. What I realized one day is August, because I remember going quail hunting 1st of September, and I just had been getting more and more and more aware that I didn't own the house or the boat or the cars. They owned me. Mm-hmm. And I was a slave to their upkeep, to maintaining.
Yeah, you built yourself a prison.
Just things.
Do you enjoy these videos? Do you want more? This just in? Well, help us grow. Tell your uncaring family, tweet it out to your loser friends, think about me while making love to your spouse. How's about a thumbs up? Maybe check out the Patreon and tip your entertainer. The more feedback these videos get, the more videos I'll make. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to spread the word and tell the world about...
This is just in.